Good evening and welcome to the March 2025 meeting of the Historic Preservation Board. I'm Tom Combs, the chair. I will call the meeting to order. We just have, well, the first thing we'll do is approval of the minutes from last time, if everybody had a chance to take a look at them. Any comments, questions, edits? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Further conversation? You all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, we just have the one item on the agenda tonight, and that is the status of the Alpheus Clark House and what will be happening. I'm going to ask Shannon to take us through what is being expected of this group relative to the Certificate of Appropriateness for the work on the house. And she has, I think, spent a lot of time and effort putting together a list of items. There's 9 of them, and she handed that out to everyone in advance of the meeting. These are the items that we, as a group, have agreed to, approved over the last couple of years that made their way into the drawings. We wanted to make sure, because tonight we're going to be taking the formal vote on the Certificate of Appropriateness. I want to be sure that everyone is comfortable that all of those items that we had talked about have been included in the drawings. So, Shannon, I will turn it over to you, and then for everyone, it's just the one-pager that was on the top of the handout.
Great. So yes, as Tom said, tonight we are taking a formal vote on the Certificate of Appropriateness for the rehabilitation work completed on the 1832 portion of the Alpheus Clark House. This is something that has been discussed pretty lengthy up until this point. A lot of decisions have been made and discussed at previous meetings, along with working with Bergman and Barrow on these decisions, getting input, revisions, material examples, all those kinds of things. So we just are looking for the formal vote tonight. So I put together a list of all of the decisions that have been made by the board up until this point. And then I also noted and pulled out the construction drawings that were submitted for the building permit and called out where each of these items is notated on those drawings. So each of these items that have been decided by the board thus far are reflected appropriately in the construction drawings. So no other changes have been made, no other decisions have been made. Everything so far is according to what the board has decided up until this point. So right now, basically what we can do is either go through this list point by point, or if we feel like we don't really need to do that because we're kind of rehashing things that have already been discussed, if anyone wants to bring up specific points that they want to discuss a little further, if they have any concerns, clarifying questions.
Shannon, I think it would make sense just to at least run through them quite quickly.
Okay. So the first one on the list is the existing chimney located on the rear side of the building is going to be removed. That was something that we discussed at length, and the decision was made to go ahead and remove it.
Can I ask one question about that? Sure. I wasn't present for a lot of this.
Yeah.
I'm fairly new. I'm just curious why.
So the chimney is on the back side of the 1832 portion. So the board decided that it's not very visible from the road. Actually, I don't think it's visible at all because of the hill. So if you're standing on Clark Road, you can't see the chimney in its current state. So it's not necessarily a definition, like it's not a defining feature of the house itself. We also couldn't 100% clarify if the chimney is original to the house in that exact location because we don't have photo evidence. So we're not sure if it's historically significant in its 1832 state that we're rehabilitating to.
Okay.
If I can add in too, I think on top of that, that we weren't sure that it was historic to the front portion of the house. I think when we were looking at the brick, we did say that it might have been more contemporary with the portion of the house that's being demolished. So it made sense to allow that back rear chimney to come down because it really would have gone with the portion of the house that's being demolished.
Okay.
And one other point on that was that because the chimney isn't going to be there, the walls are going to have to be repaired. And that was mentioned in the drawings as well. And there were 3 windows, which if you looked at the drawings, they were smaller than the other ones. And that's to accommodate the roof line of the pass-through to the lodge. And those were placed where we believe the original windows would have been prior to the chimney being added.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. The next one is the front porch entry. The decision by the board was to restore the front porch entry to its likely original condition by removing the side panels, the side panels and front side lights, and then to repair the front porch and stabilize accordingly.
Okay?
Good, okay. Number 3, the foundation of the existing house will remain as is. We had a structural engineering company take a look at that, and Barrow Architecture took a look at it and confirmed that the foundation of the 1832 house is stable. It needs to be repointed, shored up a little bit, but the main issue was the stormwater collection around the house, which is why there was water in the basement and some water issues. So with proper stormwater collection, gutters and runoffs and grading changes, that should all be corrected. So the foundation of the house will remain. Good. All right, number 4, the existing double-hung sash windows are going to be repaired rather than replaced. Good on that. Number 5, the existing exterior light fixtures on either side of the front porch entry are going to be removed and replaced. That decision was made because the existing light fixtures are certainly not original to the house, and they're more or less broken at this point. So they'll be replaced with something appropriate that will be brought in front of the board before they are installed to confirm that you guys are comfortable with whatever light fixtures are going to be installed.
And it really is, obviously, whatever we put there isn't going to be original. But it's a matter of safety, and we just felt that we needed to have something there.
Right, it's probably something very minimal and simple to not distract from the facade of the house, front facade of the house. Okay, number 6, the existing shutters are going to be repaired as necessary. There are a couple of missing shutters on the east side of the house, and those will be replaced in kind.
And my only comment on that is that if you looked at the drawings, there was a rather lengthy summary of suggestions to fix the windows and the shutters. And I just want to point out those were provided by Barrow Architects. So we think that they're appropriate for the building.
Are we able to get those? Because this seems like this is pretty limited in information. Is there a spec book or something that might, what materials you're proposing? Or?
Microphone, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So Barrow Architecture did provide window and shutter schedule notes that have a point-by-point breakdown of how the shutters will be repaired. As far as the replacements, I'd have to look back through to see what the proposed materials are.
No, I understand. It's just you're asking us to approve something that is, to me, it's just a limited outline, doesn't have any of the specs for materials or anything in it. I mean,
So-
looking at the mortar, you've got just a line in there that says repoint foundation. Well, there's got to be a book or drawings that have more detail than that, and I'd like to see that before I would be able to vote on something.
So what we will do is treat this certificate of appropriateness like we've treated the other ones. So basically, you guys would be approving the decisions that have been made so far. And if there are any changes or more details to come, those will be presented to the board, reviewed, and then you guys will vote to revise the certificate of appropriateness, just like how we did for the lodge event space. The original approval changed, and we made a revision to the certificate of appropriateness outlining all of those changes, and all of the changes were reviewed by the board before any construction happened.
I don't think we ever saw any construction drawings for that. And not trying to give you a hard time, I'm just asking, trying to educate a little bit myself. I don't know how I would vote on the foundation of existing house to remain as is and be pointed if I don't know what process they're going to use to be pointing the foundation. And I don't know how I'd vote on your window spec, existing double hung to be repaired. I don't know how they're going to repair them. So how would I vote to say that that's our historically correct procedure?
Well, so that information has all been reviewed, and these drawings, the two drawings that I gave everybody before the meeting and sent to you last week, those were prepared by Barrow Architecture. So they have been reviewed by an architecture firm who focuses in preservation work. So they have a step-by-step process in here with information on how to repair the windows step-by-step, how to repair the shutters step-by-step.
I understand, and it's probably my fault because I didn't get a chance to open that file you sent me, but I appreciate it. But I still don't. I don't think personally that we have enough information to approve a certificate of appropriateness unless we've had a chance to look at that. And I don't know if anybody else on the board feels the same way or if they've seen it all. Or yeah.
I think something we've recognized all along, Chuck, is that in fairness, until they're in there taking things apart, we're not going to know exactly what it needs to be done. So we know on the surface that the foundation needs to be repointed. We know that a lot of the windows need to be repaired and replaced, but until someone's in there actually touching each one of them, we're not going to know any more than that.
No, I understand. So let's use your pointing of the foundation as an example. Do I go to Home Depot and buy a bag of Saccharine, or do I investigate how the lime mortar was made and try to replicate that? And which way am I voting when I'm making this vote tonight?
Well, we're relying on Barrow for that, and remember, we're not restoring, we're rehabbing. So the restoring might say we reproduce the cement used in 1832, but that's not what we're trying to do.
I think the
I
mortar
disagree
does
with you
have to
respectively.
be historic, or else it will ruin the foundation. I'm sure they're using the right one if they've got Barrow on the team, but that actually does matter.
I will also say, so the town and all of the companies that are included in this project as far as the bids that were awarded for the construction, we have decided that there will be construction meetings once a week throughout the process to track all of the progress, and if any changes or issues come up, they will be brought forward. We have made it very clear to all of the contractors in this project that we are not asking for forgiveness rather than permission. If something happens, if something comes up, they will be asking before they do anything. So we will not only just have the progress meetings for the whole construction team, we're also going to have a separate progress meeting for all of the rehabilitation aspects of this project. And that will include town staff, and that will include Barrow Architecture. So every step of this project is going to be really, really carefully looked over. And I'm sure, as everyone can understand, when it comes to a project like demolition and when it comes to a project like rehabilitation, you won't know 100% because you don't know what's going to happen until you get in there and start working on things. So plans are going to change. It's just inevitable. So what we're looking for here is approval on all of the decisions, the big decisions that you guys have made. That is repair or replace. That is, keep or get rid of. This is restore or remove. All of those big decisions, which are reflected in the construction plans here today, all of those details are going to have to come later because we just don't know yet. It's impossible for us to have all the details. So just like how we did for the lodge event space, you guys voted to approve the big picture, the big idea on all of those big elements. That's what we're looking for here. And then as we get into the details, I'm going to bring those back to you guys, and we will revise their certificate of appropriateness to make sure that every single decision is reviewed meticulously and documented.
My understanding is you've already awarded the contracts. So how do we have input on the design then and the?
So this isn't a design decision at this point because you guys already very in-depth talked with Bergman and Barrow and reviewed all of these decisions. So now we're just saying, here are the final construction drawings so you guys can see them in real life on what those decisions ended up looking like so that we can talk through them if there were questions or specifics that needed to come up. But these decisions have already been discussed and made. So we're just looking.
I understand it. I'm really not trying to belittle the work that you've put into this because I know it's quite a bit. And I don't want to jump ahead to number 9, which says basement window wells avoid CMU. You're drawing tiles for installing CMU in the basement windows.
So I did want to bring that up because it's kind of like I'll bring up the detail because it's worded not well. So this is the detail of the basement window well. CMU is on the inside. It's the base of the construction. But on the outside, it says country ledge stone.
Right, so you're marrying two materials that are completely different in their expansion rates and.
This has been put together by an architecture firm that specializes in this, so I will say we have to defer to what they know best. These are signed construction drawings by
I understand they're signed construction drawings, but we haven't seen them.
These are it. I sent these to you guys last week, and they're in front of you right now.
All right, very good.
All right, let's get back to number 7.
So that was the existing wood clapboard siding to be repaired as needed and replace the missing portions as well as the existing portions that are currently covered with plywood. You guys also made decisions that for the existing insulation plugs to be removed and provide solid wood plugs instead, and maintain the existing nail heads to be sanded, primed, and painted. And Barrow provided a couple of really nice drawings of all the elevations of the 1832 portion of the house, and the dark portions show the portions of the siding that will be replaced and repaired as necessary.
All right, number 8.
The east side porch will be repaired to make it safe and functional. This is the current wood board planks that are being used for safety restraints are going to be removed. Railings will not be replaced as per what was likely originally there. The porch will be remodeled and adjust the existing roof as necessary with as little impact as possible when the demolition of the 1832 portion happens and constructing the new addition, so that roof will change a little bit. And then one of the posts on the porch will be replaced to match the existing.
All right, thank you. Number 9, did we just cover that, or do we want to go through that?
I'll go over it again. So the basement window wells, there are 2 on the front facade of the building. Currently, they're blocked up. I think with plywood. So the window wells, we talked about avoiding the CMU and having the existing field stone to match the existing foundation as close as possible, or replacing it with the window. The current proposal is having the field stone facing outward to flow with the existing foundation.
Okay, those were the key items that we had insisted upon months ago. And Shannon, really appreciate it. I know that it was a lot of work put together to go through the documents and the drawings to summarize this for us. So tonight, we do need to make the official vote on the Certificate of Appropriateness. And any comments on the wording of that, what it's going to say? Is it basically the same one we had before?
Yeah, so it will be that the Historic Preservation Board approves the Certificate of Appropriateness for the rehabilitation work to be completed on the 1832 portion of the Alpheus Clark House. That's the official Certificate of Appropriateness. And then I will go through all of the decisions that you guys have made, so all the ones outlined in this list about the specific decisions, those will all be covered in the resolution for the Certificate of Appropriateness. And of course, as things progress and if changes come up, things happen with the project as we move through it and get into it a little bit further, we will make revisions as necessary.
I have one hopefully quick question, just to make sure I'm understanding. I remember the night that both firms were here, and I think we pretty much went over every one of these things that night. I just want to make sure, just because I don't see it specifically on these drawings, I know there are other drawings that have more. When it comes to the siding that has to be replaced, I'm trying to remember back to that night. We did look at the siding options, right? And this would be wood to match the existing wood that's there.
Yes, we
Okay.
did look at, they brought in like maybe 3 different material choices, and we kind of talked through advantages, disadvantages, maintenance, lifetime, appearance, sizing. We did talk about all of that. I don't have that in here in this kind of quick overview, but I do have all of those details written down. I can send those to you guys. And actually, what I'll do, I'm going to put all of that in the resolution to make sure it's very specific and very clear, and I can send that to you guys so you have all of it documented as well.
Okay. So on the actual Clark House, we did say wood clapboard to match, because I think on the new construction, we had gone with something else. But I just
Right, yeah,
wanted to
and I
make sure
think
that I
you
remember.
guys picked the material of that too, though,
Yes.
and the sizing and everything, so that there would be a difference in the sizing of actually like the horizontal boards between, to show a difference between the 1832 portion and the new addition. Yeah, so all,
Thank you.
yeah, all of those decisions were made, and I think that was part of the revision for the lodge event space Certificate of Appropriateness as well. I think we already did that part.
Okay, other comments, questions? All right, then I would look for a motion to approve the Certificate of Appropriateness, which will include all of these items.
I'll make a motion.
So moved. And a second?
I will second, but, well, can I add a condition to the?
Yes.
Okay, this is probably already in there. I just want to make sure, kind of like my last question. I would second, but I do want to just make sure that the mortar they're repointing with matches specifically the existing historic mortar.
Perfect. And I can
I'm
add
sure
the-
with Barrow, that is what the spec is.
Yes, and I can add that condition into the approval so it's reflected.
Okay, we need an official second.
Oh, I'll second.
All right, and any further discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Okay, we have 5, 6 ayes and 1 nay.
Okay, got it.
Okay, anything else unrelated that needs to come before the board?
I wanted to make one correction from our last meeting. So the Clark Road barn, I incorrectly stated the suggestion that was made from the barn committee to the town board. I only included half of the suggestion. I apologize for that. I didn't get the full scope of the information, so I'd just like to correct that the suggestion made to the town board from the Clark Road Barn Committee was that the barn would be selectively demolished, and that means selectively taken apart, to be clear, and with the hopes of rebuilding the barn somewhere else in Penfield, as it exactly was. If that is not possible, if when we take it apart, it's falling apart, pieces are breaking, the structure is just too far gone, the backup plan is to reuse all of the pieces for a different project. That is the backup plan. That is not the ideal situation. I just wanted to make that clear because I misspoke at the last meeting. And the reason that they were both included in the current bid that is out for the project is to save everybody time and money. So basically, we have an upfront plan and a backup plan. So basically, we're looking for information on the bids for both projects. But the preferred project is the selective taking down and demolishing, piece by piece, labeling all of the pieces to be reconstructed as the barn currently sits, just in a different location.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. Other items? All right, then we have a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
And do we need a second on that?
Technically, I usually just put you.
All right, then I second it.
All right, then we are all set. Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you.